The air was cold, too cold. It stung my skin as I trudged through the snow, the biting wind cutting through every layer of clothing I had on. The trail was hard to follow, the marks barely visible beneath the thick, fresh snow. I was far off the beaten path now, out in the wilderness where no one came. The glacier was just ahead, just a few more miles. I had to get there. I should have turned back days ago. The strange weather, the eerie silence that hung over everything. But curiosity always had a way of pulling me deeper. The reports about the glacier, the rumors from locals, it was enough to make anyone want to see for themselves. The way they spoke about it, how something didn't seem right, how the ice had changed. I had to know. The first signs of something wrong came just before I reached the base of the glacier. There was a metallic smell in the air, faint at first, but growing stronger as I neared. It was the kind of smell that made your stomach twist, like something was wrong, horribly wrong. I dismissed it as blood from some animal, maybe a hunter's kill nearby, but I knew that wasn't it. Something about it felt off. As I approached the glacier, the wind died down, replaced by an eerie stillness. I stood there for a moment, staring up at the towering wall of ice. It was more beautiful than I had imagined. Its surface glittered, reflecting the dim light of the overcast sky. But something about it didn't sit right. It was as if the ice was moving, undulating in a subtle, unsettling way. I took a step forward, my breath clouding in front of me. Then I saw it. The first red streak running down the glacier, small at first but unmistakable. It was a smear of dark, viscous liquid against the pure white of the ice. My heart skipped a beat as I moved closer, drawn to it despite the gnawing feeling in the pit of my stomach. It wasn't just blood. No, it was something else, something worse. The liquid was seeping from deep within the glacier, a strange, unnatural red that glistened in the pale light. I touched the ice, and the temperature was even colder than I had expected. But it wasn't just cold. It was unnatural. Like the ice was absorbing the warmth from my fingertips, draining the heat from my very bones. The red streaks grew larger as I followed them, running down the glacier in thick, oozing lines. The smell was stronger now, sickening. It was coming from the ice itself. And then, I saw them. Bodies. Frozen in the glacier, embedded within the ice like forgotten relics of another time. Their faces were frozen in contorted expressions of terror, eyes wide, mouths open in silent screams. Some were still intact, though pale and bloated, while others had been partially consumed by the ice, their limbs twisted and malformed. I stumbled back, my heart racing as I looked at the bodies. They couldn't have been there long, maybe weeks at most. But they looked ancient, as if they had been trapped for centuries, preserved in the frozen grip of the glacier. The red liquid was coming from them, I realized. It was spilling from their frozen forms, dripping down into the crevices of the ice. I wanted to turn and run, but my legs wouldn't move. I was frozen in place, my eyes glued to the bodies, to the gruesome sight before me. It was like I could feel them, feel the weight of their presence, the cold that wasn't just from the ice, but from something deeper, something alive. The ground beneath me seemed to tremble, a low vibration that I could feel in my bones. Suddenly, the ice cracked. A sharp, deafening sound split the air, and I jumped back, my breath catching in my throat. The glacier trembled again, this time more violently, as though something massive was stirring within its depths. I stumbled backwards, my heart pounding in my chest. The ground shook, and then I saw it. A figure, or what was left of one, moved within the ice. Its limbs twisted unnaturally, the frozen body contorted and half-melted. I froze, unable to move, watching in horror as the creature shifted, dragging itself through the ice. It was as if the glacier was alive, feeding on the bodies it had trapped within, absorbing them into something darker. I turned to run. I didn't look back, not even once. My heart raced as I dashed through the snow, my breath coming in ragged gasps. The ice was cracking behind me, the sound of it growing louder as I fled. The wind picked up again, howling through the trees. But it was distant now, a hollow noise that couldn't drown out the sounds coming from the glacier. I pushed myself harder, my legs burning with every step. The forest was close, just ahead. The smell of blood still lingered, but the shaking beneath my feet had stopped. I was almost there, almost free. I didn't stop until I reached the tree line, the dark shapes of the trees blocking my view of the glacier. I collapsed against one of them, gasping for breath, my body trembling with exhaustion and fear. I closed my eyes, trying to steady myself, trying to calm the rising panic. But then I heard it, the hum, low, distant, but unmistakable. The sound came from the glacier, from the heart of it, and I knew that it wasn't over. The ice hadn't let me go. It had only let me run. I didn't dare look back. I ran deeper into the forest, pushing through the snow and the trees, not stopping until I reached the safety of the nearest town. And even then, the hum lingered in my ears, a reminder that some things, some forces in nature, are far older and far more deadly than we could ever understand.